Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing it's a phenomenon here that's not uncommon, unfortunately, in Thailand, of foreigners being what I call yes to death when it comes to Thai property matters. Now, the thumbnail of this video might seem a little odd. It's actually from I was reading an email from someone who sent us an inquiry regarding an issue pertaining to Thai property that they had acquired. Hard to really call it that. Frankly, their legal posture is not optimal. Let me just leave it like that. But they were told essentially, yeah, you have effectively rights of ownership and all sorts of things. The thumbnail is from the movie Casino, and I have a link in the description below for the photo credit. It's kind of a blue, if you will, link. The clip has a fair amount of pretty harsh language in it that might not be necessarily recommended for all audiences. But that phrase, yes to death, Nikki Santoro in that scene is talking to the woman that Sharon Stone plays, and he says, "You yesed me to death." You know, this is something we see a lot out here, unfortunately. And I don't really like seeing it on the back end of the problem, if you will, because I'm usually in the unenviable position of explaining to folks, hey, you know, you don't have the rights you think you had. You may not have any rights at all. Whatever quote unquote rights you think you have, if you press them, you could put yourself into an even worse position. As we've discussed in other videos, foreign ownership of Thai property is extremely restricted. Now, as we've discussed, in theory, it's possible for a foreigner to own land in Thailand, but effectively, you need the sign-off of the Minister of Interior, and as a practical matter, unless there's extreme extenuating circumstances that warrant such a sign-off, it's just basically not going to happen. The policy of Thailand is Thai real estate is for Thai nationals only in terms of ownership. Now, there are instruments that would allow for foreign usage. For example, long-term leasing, what's called usufruct or usufruct, depending on where you come from, which is sort of like lifetime right of use, that's out there. There's also the possibility of different types of leasing structures. Again, you know, at the end of the day, basically, you know, a standard lease is going to kind of cover those kinds of things. But right of use is out there. One thing that's often talked about and is really not understood is the notion of a company owning property and then a foreigner having like disproportionate voting rights, a foreigner having effective control through such a structure. Let me be clear, there may be fact patterns where such a setup might be viable. For example, most of the ones that we see involve married couples where there's sort of a corporate entity sitting on a piece of property. Oftentimes it's a shop house model kind of situation where there's a business running out of oftentimes the bottom sector of the shop house, and then they live on top of it. And they're married, and then they have a corporate structure whereby the foreigner has a minority stake but has a directorship. So some control in a business context is then possible. Again, these are limited circumstances, and every time I've seen it where it's a setup that is going to pass muster with regard to Thai authorities, it always involves a minority stake and generally speaking involves a marriage in some, you know, or some very close family relationship. And that said, unfortunately, there's a lot of operators out there, foreign, domestic, whatever, that will yes you to death when it comes to issues of foreign ownership or foreign usage of Thai property, especially through a corporate structure. And even when people ask valid and good questions trying to do their due diligence, again, they're yes to death and basically told, don't worry about this is all okay, nothing to worry about, you can do this, etc. It's something to be very concerned about. It's one of the primary reasons for doing due diligence here in Thailand and finding an independent professional that will follow up on the nature of the property, the nature of the title, which is also a very important thing. Oftentimes, title may not be what folks think it is. There's different grades of title under Thai law, the highest being Shinote title, or what we would call fee simple absolute, or freehold title in a sort of an Anglo context. But again, this type of due diligence and ascertaining exactly what you're getting is a very good idea, because unfortunately we see it not, I wish it was far more uncommon, But we see folks contacting us that say, oh, I own a company and that owns the house. Well, as we've discussed in other videos, there's been raids of even law firms and accounting firms throughout Thailand that are utilizing corporate structures to allow foreigners usage of land because it's viewed as effectively illegal subterfuge, and those companies are oftentimes dissolved and the land is seized. And that's a bad deal. And there could be even criminal consequences for all this stuff, which is why I bring up even pressing what one thinks are their rights could lead to further detrimental circumstances befalling them. So the point I'm trying to make with this video, before getting into any kind of property transaction here in Thailand, it's a really good idea to contact an independent legal professional and gain some insight and guidance into how best to proceed.